Thank you so much for clicking on this video. It is now the final panel for CinemaCon. Disney just finished up their presentation, and what a nice week it turned out to be. The first couple of panels we got were a little iffy, and I thought, man, this might be a lackluster CinemaCon year. But no, Paramount and Disney came out swinging, and we have a lot of interesting things to talk about. So that's exactly what I'll be doing here for you guys. I'll be breaking down the panel. Timestamps will be in the description. And if you haven't already, check out all the other videos where I talk about each studio's announcements at CinemaCon. And well, just quickly, I want to say, now that we're on the last CinemaCon video, if you're someone who watched just one or even all the videos, thank you so much. It's always exciting to talk movies with the community, and the fact you guys choose me to deliver you the news, well, that just warms my heart. But okay, enough with the sentimental stuff. Let's just dive into this CinemaCon panel. Now, one thing Disney did that I do love is that they allowed the attendees there to take photos and even sometimes videos of what was being presented. Not any of the exclusive trailers, footage, nothing like that. But this year at CinemaCon, I noticed there wasn't a lot of photos being released online. Usually I'm showing you guys tons of photos of the stage, the stars that go up on there, some of the logos that get shown on screen, but this year for some reason a lot of the studios told the attendees no photos. But not Disney. They understand this is good press for their upcoming movies, and they allowed people to take photos and videos of certain things on stage. So good job, Disney. But in the panel, they promised attendees that they would be seeing a total of 75 minutes worth of footage. That sounded pretty exciting, and they started off with 13 minutes of the new Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes movie. We got a brief description of those 13 minutes, and it reads as, CinemaCon attendees saw an exclusive 13 minutes from Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which established the vast beauty of the film's rich world. We follow a new young ape named Noah and his squad of fellow ape hunters who climb up gigantic trees in search of hawk eggs. They find a nest with 3 eggs for a ritual called Bonding Day, but Noah is wise enough to teach his fellow apes that 1 egg must stay in order to preserve the circle of life. The apes talk about raising these hawks hatchlings as their own in order for them to hunt better with companions who can fly. Suddenly, Noah finds another hawk nest above and tries his best to make his treacherous climb to retrieve another egg. When he's attacked by the mother hawk of the nest, Noah falls down a dangerous cliff but barely makes it out alive. By finding a branch to hold on to, the CGI of the apes themselves is the cleanest and most realistic that it's ever been in this franchise, with Noah's fingers looking particularly real as he reaches out to collect these eggs. The footage then cuts to a montage that teases the rest of the plot, with Noah's home tribe and village being attacked by another ape clan led by a prophetic leader of sorts, Proximus Caesar. They ravage Noah's village with weapons used by humans of old days, like electric batons. In the end, all of these apes from Noah's home are vanquished, and he's left with nothing but the hawks he's bonded with. Noah now sets off on a quest to seek revenge. Ooh, that footage sounds really good. I have been slowly getting even more excited for this Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes movie. Part of me feels like I just shouldn't even have read that description since the movie is so close to release. I'm loving the way this Noah character sounds, especially from that description of him wanting to leave an egg to continue the circle of life, him bonding with a hawk, which I'm assuming that's the hawk that we see in the posters. It's a movie that I hope hits all the emotional high notes, and it's also nice to see that the CGI of the movie is really top notch. From there, they talked about Daisy Ridley's upcoming movie, Young Woman and the Sea. Now, this is actually a movie where the trailer got released online right now, and it's basically a true story of this woman who was a competitive swimmer named Trudy Adiri in 1926. She was the first woman to ever swim across the English Channel. The trailer seemed nice. I am into these kind of true stories where huge accomplishments were made, so this might be something I'm checking out, but I'd be lying to you if I said I'm over the moon hyped for it. From there, they brought out Amy Poehler so that they could show the audiences 35 minutes of Inside Out 2. I mentioned at the beginning of this video that they were bragging about, you're gonna see 75 minutes worth of footage here today. 35 minutes of that is Inside Out 2. That's a little cheating, Disney. How the heck are you just gonna show 1/3 of a movie and then cut it off? That would honestly piss me off. Can you imagine seeing that much of a movie? You're all into it, then it's like, hey, who paused it? Now, for obvious reasons, I'm not going to go into a full description of those 35 minutes because, again, that's 1/3 of the movie. But audiences are saying that this is going to live up to that first Inside Out movie, that they're doing a lot of creative things within Riley's mind, not just including some of the new emotions, but we'll also be exploring other parts of the mind that we didn't in the first movie. They're also saying that there's going to be a couple of animated characters in here where they experiment on the animation shown on screen. So that's really nice. It's just, again, 35 minutes of the Just show the whole movie at that point, man. But this is where my boy Kevin Feige took the stage and started talking about a couple of upcoming Marvel projects. He showed the logo for the new Fantastic Four movie on screen, and although he didn't say much about it, the thing he did say is that the movie will be entirely shot on IMAX, which just lets you know this movie should visually look great. Then Kevin Feige brought up the title card for Thunderbolts, where he said this.
Thunderbolts, and yes, you'll notice an asterisk at the end of that title. That is the official title of the movie, is Thunderbolts with a little asterisk, and we won't talk any more about that until after the movie comes out.
That is super intriguing. I don't think there's ever been a movie in history to do this, where they have an asterisk and then they say they will address it once the movie comes out. That could possibly mean that they're changing the title of the movie once it's been officially released. So maybe what they originally wanted to call the movie is like a big spoiler. There's already fan theories going around that this is actually supposed to be a Dark Avengers movie, and maybe that's what they're called by the end of the film. But adding this kind of mystery into the movie, I think, is a little fun. So what do you guys think that asterisk is for? From there, they brought out Anthony Mackie to talk about Captain America: A Brave New World. Now, I know there's a lot of people that are still hesitant on this movie, and I don't blame them, especially with the delays this movie has had and them reshooting a lot of the movie. I still want Sam Wilson's Captain America movie to be good, and they did show some footage that sounds intriguing. The footage of the movie goes as CinemaCon got to see the very first footage for Captain America: Brave New World. The clip that's shown follows Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie meeting Thunderbolt Ross, who is now the president at the White House. Ross is asking him to meet with Wilson so he can reunite the Avengers with a new Captain America at the forefront. He's looking to unite forces, but he might have some ulterior motives unknown to everyone else. During a meeting where Ross is presenting this plan to a crowd with Sam in attendance, a mysterious villain takes over the speaker and controls the minds of Secret Service agents and Isaiah Bradley, who Sam struggles to pin down in a fight. Full chaos ensues, which leads us to a montage of different action set pieces of the film. We see Sam getting attacked at the White House, using his shield to block himself from multiple Secret Service agents trying to tase him. We see shots of Sam Wilson and Joaquin Torres in action together, that's the Falcon. Everything builds up to a tense confrontation between Sam and Thunderbolt Ross in the Oval Office, wherein Ross tells him, "You're not Steve Rogers." After a long pause, Sam says, "You're right, I'm not." Finally, we see Sam suit up in the new Captain America suit, which is more silver and blue than blue and white. Ooh, okay, I'm not gonna lie, I actually love the sound of that footage. During the panel, they mentioned that they're wanting to go for sort of a grounded feel in this movie, a lot like with the Winter Soldier. I'm hoping that's true. It was also really sad to hear that Isaiah Bradley's in this movie. He gets mind manipulated and ends up having a fight with Sam Wilson. That's gonna be kind of gut-wrenching to see. I'm also hearing that the chemistry Sam Wilson has with Harrison Ford is really great on screen. They also released this photo here that I totally didn't Photoshop. That is just what happens when you become America's ass. So yeah, I hope all the delays and trouble this movie has gone through is going to be worth it, because right now I am liking the sound of that footage and I can't wait to see it. From there, they brought on director Sean Levy of Deadpool and Wolverine to show audiences 9 minutes of that movie. Oh, I am so jealous. They got to see 9 minutes of Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, before they showcase the footage, Kevin Feige did have this to say.
It is extremely exciting, and I hope you don't mind if I say it's fucking awesome. It's fucking awesome, and the reason I can say it's fucking awesome is because it's an R-rated movie.
Language, my friend. Feige, how could you betray? I've never heard that man cuss. Breaks my heart. You were my hero, Feige.
We've asked Deadpool to design a popcorn bucket for Deadpool and Wolverine, and I don't want to spoil it, but I will say there are some movies that inadvertently make crude and rude popcorn buckets, and then there are popcorn buckets designed by Deadpool. And I look forward to all of you experiencing that for yourself.
Now, since this footage was 9 minutes long, I don't want to bore you with just an exact description. I just want to give you the highlights of what a lot of people are talking about. So the footage starts off with Wade Wilson as a car salesman. That's what he's doing right now, where they then transition to him going to his birthday party that we see in the trailers. He has a conversation with Blind Al, where she makes a comment about wanting to party, and Wade Wilson replies with, "White powder sugar is one of the things Feige said is off limits." If you know, you know, but I can't say the C word. From there, we move on to a scene in the the TVA where he's with the agent Paradox, telling him about why they need his help, where he shows them footage of his past, present, and future, including a cameo of Chris Hemsworth Thor crying over the death of Deadpool. The TVA agent tells him that this is supposed to be something that happens in the distant future. But that's really funny they decided to include that. Other parts of the footage include Deadpool and Wolverine in a car together, where Deadpool is roasting Wolverine on his suit. He asks him if the X-Men forced him to wear that, where Logan replies with "shut the F up." The footage then ends with Wade running up to the camera, breaking the fourth wall, grabbing a mic, saying "F you Fox, I'm going to Disneyland," and then ending off the footage there. Now obviously I know me telling it to you isn't as exciting as actually seeing it, but just picturing all that in your mind, you can see how that's pretty funny. Especially that scene of Chris Hemsworth Thor crying over dead Deadpool. That's gonna be one of those things where it's an obvious joke, it's a funny gag, but MCU fans are gonna take it so seriously with like, does that mean in Secret Wars he's gonna die and Chris Hemsworth's Thor is gonna cry? Who knows, man? From there, they moved on to talk about Alien Romulus. I am also so jealous that I didn't get to see this footage. During the CinemaCon presentation, Alvarez and Scott sent a message introducing a special look at Alien Romulus. The footage begins with two young girls discovering a body. Another man is looking around the ship, which is glowing with red lights. While encased, samples begin to move. A piece of technology shows that there is a light that can see through body parts, showing ligaments and bones. The aforementioned man has a button on his neck, which is pushed, prompting him to freeze and stare up at the ceiling while his eyes roll back and he reboots. Meanwhile, aliens are hatching in front of him and dropping into the water at his feet. The rest of the crew notices something swimming by but are unaware until one of them gets knocked over. The creatures jump out and tries to hug his face but gets launched into the glass. Another jumps off of a frozen Andy, jabbing its legs into his mouth and his eyes. The crew tries to close the door behind them to escape, but one of the aliens gets through, prompting them to swat it back into the glass, which cracks and lets them all in. In the end, one of the crew gets wrecked in the face by one of the face huggers. In another clip, a character is not feeling well and grips their chest. The device to see through their body is used, showing aliens trying to break out of their ribs. They collapse, foam at the mouth, convulse, and accidentally kick the ship into motion before the alien bursts out of their chest. It's a bloody, visceral moment. The ship continues floating until it eventually crashes into a bigger one. Oh man, that footage sounds like it could be so amazing. I love what Fed Alvarez is doing in here, bringing back the horror elements into the Alien franchise and also expanding out with some new things we hadn't seen before. That idea of a light that is so bright it can shine through the body, and that way they can see the alien being born in your stomach before it just hatches out. That is such a cool idea. And I think there's going to be a lot of messed up horror sequences like that. I mean, we saw in the trailer that face hugger sequence was really cool with all of them being released onto the ship. So yeah, Alien Romulus, looking forward to that. From there, they decided to show off a little teaser trailer for their upcoming Mufasa movie. This is the Lion King prequel that'll be in live action, directed by Barry Jenkins. The description of the footage goes as CinemaCon 2024 got a brief look at Barry Jenkins' Mufasa the Lion King. Since it's still deep into post-production, Jenkins described it as a first look at the teaser that should be eventually released. It starts off on a snowy mountain with a pride of lions under a bunch of giant icicles. Rafiki narrates the story and describes it as being about a lion who will change everyone's lives. There are plenty of new environments on display, like Africa's swamplands, deep rivers, and even more snow. We see a young Mufasa rise from the rocky desert, and Rafiki describes him as a lion who was born without an ounce of notability. He will now go on a journey that will see him become the greater leader everyone knows and loves. I think until I see this footage for myself, I'm not really going to get excited for this Mufasa movie. I think it has potential, but I'm just still not fully on board with the live action emotions of these animals. It just does not translate the same. But if the movie is good and the story is good, I won't be complaining. I do have faith in director Barry Jenkins, and I think he could pull it off, but we'll see. Then things ended off with Dwayne Johnson taking the stage to promote Moana 2. Now, this is still the animated movie, not the live action film that he's also starring in, where he did a couple of dances on stage and they revealed the first little teaser trailer. A description of the footage goes, in the music-heavy clip, Moana returns to her home island of Motunui and is greeted with a hero's welcome. The clip offered a taste of one new song that's about the natives eager to be back to who we're meant to be. Although the sequel will feature entirely fresh melodies, the music sounds like it harkens back to the original film as the islanders hum. At one point, a character asks, "Do we have to sing?" Everyone promptly responds, "Yes, we have to sing." I really liked that first Moana movie. It was still so funny to me that this was originally going to be a Disney Plus series and then they just decided, nah, let's just make it a movie. I don't know how that's going to speak to the quality of it, whether that's just because they were just tired of things failing on Disney Plus or it was so good they thought it should be a movie. This is also one I'll have to see actual footage for myself before I get too excited. But that is everything that was shown at the Disney CinemaCon panel. It was kind of a crazy, hectic week. I still think Paramount won it, but Disney did reveal a lot of things that got me hyped. Let me know what you guys like best. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.